Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about Second Spear by Kerstin Hall, and I received an e-arc of this from the publisher via NetGalley in exchange for a review here, and so I'm going to be talking about this one today. Now this is one I had some complicated thoughts on, and I mentioned it a bit in some of my weekly wrap-ups when I was reading this. This is a novella, and it's not the first one this author has written set in this world. It is supposed to be something that you can start with without an introduction, which I question, because this really kind of throws you in the deep end and starts throwing out a lot of terms, places, people, things, ideas, and really doesn't explain anything at all early on. And so it was a little bit jarring trying to get in. I don't know if reading the other novellas set in the world would help with that. I imagine they might. It is one of those stories, though, that if you stick with it, things definitely do start to get a little bit clearer as you go on, and it's very much, for the most part, barring one specific thing, it's very kind of show, don't tell what's set up. So what is this about? Well, it is a little hard to explain, as I kind of was just talking about, which is why I mentioned that, but we're following our main character, who is the Second Spear, which as the title, so ranked second basically as the warriors who serve a demon in one of the many realms. And so this is one of those things where it's set, basically, it seems to be, there's hundreds of these different realms, and they're ruled by demons or gods or other creatures. It seems that everybody here is dead, so I don't know if this is some kind of like different layers of hell that's still never quite really explained here, but that's kind of the setup. And so each level, it has a different ruler and has different subjects, people who serve them, and that's really what we're looking at here. So we start with Tin, our main character, who's the Second Spear, and she seems to be in trouble for something, and we get a little bit more information kind of finding out, but and I know I feel like I'm not explaining this the best, but you can read the blurb. It's not very helpful either. This is one of those things that is hard to explain, but kind of the big thing being set up is this novella is a lot of it's about her personal struggles, figuring out kind of like her identity, who she is, who she wants to be, and then the backdrop is there are these things called God instruments, which are extremely powerful, and they're banned by like the council, who is above all of these different rulers from these hundreds of realms, and it's believed that an enemy god has one, and so the demon that she serves is trying to stop them, basically, and that's what we kind of get. Now, the only thing we really get a lot of explanation on with this is the God instruments. We get some info dumps for the God instruments in the way of a book being read about them kind of all throughout. So we get information there, but a lot of this is just kind of you have to go on and see and figure it out as you go. Now, one thing I will mention is that the world building was really interesting here, because although it was confusing, quite confusing in some cases, by nature of the fact that you're talking about there's all these different realms, you go to each realm, it's a different world, ruled by different people, there's different denizens there. There's a lot you can do with that, and there's a lot that the author does successfully do and kind of show there. So we get a lot of interesting backstory, and we start to kind of see piecing together the story of what's going on and what's happening, but there's still just a lot that's not really answered that much. Now, like I said, I feel like the first book in this world would probably have helped with knowing kind of the world and what's going on there. It does sound like, though, leaving a lot of unanswered questions is something that this author likes to do, so I don't know if there's going to be more answers later. This does tell a complete story in some ways, although there is still a lot of unknown and a lot for you to speculate on. So if you are someone who really likes to know the answers and likes to really be told and kind of have those things done, this is not going to be something I think that works with you, but if you're willing to kind of be patient and figure it out, I think this was an enjoyable story that did a lot of interesting things. The one big thing, though, and it can be hard with novellas, and this was a decent length for a novella, I would say, but with novellas, you're trying to tell a story in the amount of time and set up enough. And the world building is done really, really well here, and that part is done. The big thing is the motivations of the characters which I feel like aren't really established that well because we're just kind of thrown in somewhere and we don't really know anything, really, or at least, starting here is kind of how I felt. So we know that our main character, Tin, we know her loyalties, we know her internal struggle, but we don't know, okay, the ruler she serves, are they better or worse than any other ruler? We don't really know. We don't know the political landscape here. We don't know why there's this loyalty here. We don't know why the other gods or demons or council or anybody wants to fight any at all. We don't really get any of those answers. So I feel like having the motivations not established, it took a lot longer for me to care about the characters because I don't know why anyone's doing what they're doing. But despite that, I think it ended up still working out. It told a very interesting story, and the resolution was very interesting, and a lot of it that happens, the things that are touched on. This is something I'd be very curious to read the first novella in this world, even it's a completely different character, and from what I understand. So I'd be interested to read more of this, but I kind of would like to have had some answers or some more information, because although I did end up enjoying this, which surprised me because I kind of was very lukewarm. Like I said, I was confused and wasn't really getting a whole lot. Getting toward the end when the pieces start to kind of come together, and as you see what's happening, though, I think it did work well and I ended up enjoying it. One really fun thing I do have to mention as well is, for those of you who get the reference, Man Bear Pig shows up. Now, I did tweet the author and she said it was absolutely not intentional, but I still just love the fact that Man Bear Pig makes an appearance in this novella. I'm super serial. But so that was a really fun thing as well. But lots of interesting creatures, ideas. This is something where I think this author, with writing something full length, with a little more time to explore, I'd be very interested to read, because very well written, and obviously a skilled author, doing more the show and not tell approach for a lot of it. I just still feel at the same time, while I'm acknowledging, I can tell that that's the style and that is a choice. I feel like I needed a little more in points too, to really have this have been bumped up and worked even more for me, without knowing the motivations, without really having any frame of reference for a lot of the world and the terms and the things being set up. It took me a lot longer to get into it, and when you're reading a shorter work, you don't want it to take that long to get into it. It needs to kind of hook you right away. So that'd be kind of my final thoughts on that one. So those are my thoughts on Second Spirit by Kerstin Hall. Let me know in the comments if you've read this or are familiar with this author at all. I'd be really interested to find more about the other work also, so definitely let me know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Check the link in the description for the Wizardly Duo Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, any books, really anything at all. It is a lot of fun and we would love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.